Well, good morning, everyone. This is Steve Rao, a council member, former Mayor Pro Tem, Town of Morrisville, and also the host of Leaders and Legends on Radio Mirchi. And today is a very special edition and a special day. It's the 74th Indian Independence Day. And we today have a very special guest, a longtime friend of me and my family and the community of North Carolina, Mr. Swadesh Chatterjee. Welcome, Mr. Chatterjee. And before you say hello, I just want to, we'll be here a very long time if we read Mr. Chatterjee's bio, but he is Padma Bhushan winner in 2000. That's the highest civilian award given by the government of India. He's the chairman of the U.S.-India Friendship Council. He's the chair of the steering committee for the UNC Modern Studies Initiative. And he also has been the president of the Indian American Forum of Political Education, the national chapter, the founder and the president, and also the president of Thai Carolinas. And he serves in a number of capacities at the highest levels of government in the United States. You see behind me the picture of, at that time, I think Senator Biden, who's now running for the presidency of the United States, along with leaders in India, including Prime Minister Modi. So Swadesh ji, welcome to Mirchi and to this live radio town hall.
Thank you, Steve. I am honored and privileged to be in your show. You are asking me for a long time. Finally, we made it. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 74th anniversary celebration of India's independence from Britain. Just a few weeks ago, we also celebrated in the United States our own anniversary, 244th of independence from the same colonial master. On the anniversary of this Independence Day, we should not forget the heroes who really helped to bring the India's independence. That was people like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, all these luminaries who brought independence to India. So I'm glad to be here and welcome everybody.
Thank you so much. And for those of you listening on Facebook, we welcome you. And for those of you listening on Radio Mirchi, this is there on 99.9 FM, HD4, 101.9 FM, 4:30 AM, and also here in Baltimore and Philadelphia. So you happen to be out there. I know something Swadesh's son lives in that area, so maybe he can listen in on this. This will also be aired again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So Swadesh, first let's begin with Indian Independence Day. Why is this such an important day to you, your family, and what does this day mean to us as Indian Americans in this country?
You know, Steve, it is very, very interesting for me. This day is most important in my life because my father has the vision. I was born in 1947. That's why my name is Swadesh. Swadesh means own country. Swa means own, Desh is country. That was the Bengali meaning of Swadesh. So I am Swadesh, but I left Swadesh, came to Videsh, which is a different country. So that name signifies that Independence Day of India, and why I felt that as a Swadesh who left the country can do a lot more for my own country, motherland, India. So this day has got a tremendous significance to me and my family to what I have done for the last 30 years.
Okay, that's a wonderful answer. Thank you so much. Okay, I mean, we could spend hours doing this interview, but you have devoted most of your life to the US-India relationship. And I want to know, for all of us listening today across the state, why is this relationship between these two countries important in the past, now, and in the future? Why is it so important?
You know, when I started this journey 25 years ago, as I told you, fortunately, I did well, not very well, but I did okay. But I decided that I had to spend time to build up this US-India relations because there is a tremendous misunderstanding about Indian Americans and India as a whole. In earlier days, the fighting for Indian causes in the US capital was very difficult. India was regarded with suspicion and best as a third-rate power and a poor country. So our policymakers, they have no understanding about India or US-India relations. And the toughest job, Steve, during my process earlier days was to convince our own people, Indian American, that if you are in America, be American first. Know your mayor, know your council member, know your school superintendent, know your governor, know your secretary of state. And it was not easy. So I took the task because I saw that tremendous misunderstanding between US and India. The lawmakers used to tell India with a poor and underdeveloped nation. As you know, that first 45 years of after India's independence, 1947 till 1991 almost, the relationship between US and India, as scholar Dennis Cooks wrote, estranged democracies. So though we have got a tremendous commonality that time, still India considered between US and India is estranged because there are a lot of reasons. United States relationship with India was like isolate and ignore. So I took the task those days. I used to go to the Capitol Hill and try to tell them, please look at these two countries, look at us, how much we are contributing. But it was like talking to a deaf ear. They did not listen to us. So I thought that it is my task to work with my colleagues and try to educate the policymakers about the India and Indian-American relationship. But it was the tough battle.
Yes, I mean, you worked so hard. I mean, when I went to India with Swadesh, with Elaine Marshall, and his home city of Kolkata at the Global Business Summit. But I was just learning from you, I'm not even on that journey, and reading your book, which we're going to talk about right now, all of the sacrifices you made at a time when India wasn't a big power. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand, that Swadesh was doing this before it was the thing to do. So we thank you for that. That's why you wore so many hats. I mean, we're going to bring you back on the show to talk about your career, Brandt Instruments and everything, but you've been an entrepreneur, politically engaged, hosting events, speaking at national events, doing all of these things. But the one thing I never thought you were was an author. And then you surprised us all when you wrote a book called Building Bridges. What motivated you to write this book? And what was the one, in addition to your story, what did you want Indian Americans and other people in the US to learn from your book?
You know, Steve, I am not an author. I am not a writer. And I never thought that I'll write a book. And the reason I wrote the book on October 8th, 2008, when I was sitting on the White House East Room, when President Bush was signing US-India civil nuclear deal, and I was witnessing that in the White House while we had tikka samosa in the White House, because that was sort of India Day in the White House. I thought, I came from a small village of India, West Bengal, and sitting on the White House, witnessing the US-India civil nuclear deal signed by the President Bush, I thought it is very important that I must write this journey from my very humble beginning to the White House so that future Indian Americans can get some inspiration and see that this is a country where we are living, where if you work hard, it is very good and your exposure will be given and the country will be closer to United States. And that was mostly my reason of writing the book, people like you, so that you can be councilman, first Indian American elected, so that other Fotis Garimala can be a councilman, so that Indian Americans are visible and they get the inspiration that it is not like India. In this country, if you really follow the systems, the political system and understanding of the political system by Indian Americans and their children is very important. That was the purpose of writing my book.
Okay, great. And a few more minutes with you. We got a couple more questions and we're going to continue the town hall part after the radio interview's over. So tell me a little bit about, and the book is excellent. I would recommend anybody to get the book, Building Bridges. It's really, I learned a lot. And I would encourage all the other Indian electeds to read it too, because it is important to learn about this relationship. Tell me a little bit about the turning point, and try to be as brief if you could, but Jesse Helms, controversial US Senator, anti-India, and you built a relationship with them, and in your book you say that that was sort of the turning point. Can you talk about that, how you made that happen? And that's a pretty big deal.
You know, that is a long story, but I'll brief this quickly, because as you know, I came from grassroots. I was a board of directors of the Hindu Society for 2 years. Then I was advisor to Hindu Society. Then I become the president of North Carolina chapter of US India Political Forum. Then I become elected to the national president of Political Forum. So when Jesse Helms was running for his Senate last term in 1996, I got a call that Jesse Helms wants your support. And I said that I cannot support Jesse Helms because Indian American community, nobody will support Jesse Helms because he is a racist, he is against India, he is against Indian Americans, so don't waste my time. So after that, he called again and again, and I have the same answer. Finally, he said, let us have for lunch. So the campaign manager, I had a lunch, and give the same answer. Next day, I got a call. He said, Jesse Helms wants to meet you. And that time, I thought, you know, I have heard so much about Jesse Helms. It is an opportunity to meet him. But I said, I cannot go to Washington. I have to meet in Raleigh. He said, no, you come to Raleigh and I have got 15 minutes. So I met with Jesse Helms one-to-one. I said, Senator, the perception in the community that you are racist, the perception in the community that you don't like India, perception of Indian American community that you don't know anything about Indian American community. So sorry, I cannot help you. And he was just keep quiet for 5-7 minutes. And then he said, the campaign manager, Terry, his name is Terry Edmondson. He said, Terry, this man has got the guts. Sitting in my office, I'm in the Congress for 32 years, and he is telling me that I'm a racist and I don't know anything about India. I like the courage of this man. So after that, he said, Swadesh, what we can do together to change this perception? And we needed him for US-India relations. He was a powerhouse in Washington, DC. And I somehow built up a chemistry and relationship with him. But I can tell you that is my training and education in politics. That was my PhD, work with Jesse Helms. And he broke the ice for the US sanction against India. I had a meeting with the Foreign Minister of India, Prime Minister of India, Jesse Helms, and he was cordial enough to do that, and I broke the ice.
Okay, well, I mean, a lot of the details are in the book, so you can read the book. A couple more questions. I'm going to put a couple of questions together in the interest of time, but where are the opportunities today in this relationship between the U.S., the world's oldest democracy, the United States, and India, and where are the challenges, and how does that tie into you founding the U.S.-India Friendship Council, which I've had the honor of being involved with? But tell me a little bit about that.
You know, as of today, we have come from the lowest depth to height of great expectation on US-India relations. But US-India relations cannot be on the autopilot. After the 2008 US-India civil nuclear deal, India's position in the world, in the geopolitical arena, is on different level. US and India is now a partner. And as President Obama said, in the 21st century, India can be the greatest ally of 21st century. Now, given that scenario, US-India relations cannot be in autopilot. So there are a lot of challenges. Challenges are increasing every day, particularly what is happening in the which relationship with China. And US and India defense relationship is one-time high. The trade between the two countries increased almost 7-fold in the last 5 years. So as told it is economy, stupid. It is economy, it is economy. So US-India trade, we really like to see that US and India has a free trade agreement between the two. There is no barriers. We like to see there is exchange of people, this immigration reform, there is a challenge. We like to see India to become a permanent member of the UN Security Council, and US had to help and work with India. We should share our intelligence, which you are doing now. So we have got China, the only country on that side of the world can really be a partner with the United States. Apart from Japan, already partner should be India. Because to counterbalance the threat of China, India is only country, the largest democracy in the world. United States is the strongest. I think they can be the partner. But we, Indian American community, has a strong role to play. US-India relations, before it was only the foggy bottom in Washington and Delhi MEA. That is not the case anymore. Indian American community plays a very important role and had to be vigilant and work together to get the relationship going in the right path. I can tell you, the US-India relationship is not going to go down anymore, no matter who comes on the White House. United States Congress and United States Senate will still realize that India is the greatest partner can be.
Oh, well, that's a great segue into our last question for this radio interview. And for those of you listening, we're going to continue this town hall. Obviously, the pandemic's going to affect a little bit, so we'll talk about that in the town hall. But I think with COVID-19, India has been affected really, really bad, as well as US, and so that's going to be a challenge. But you talked about White House administration. So a big event this afternoon. I'd like you to talk about that event. I'm signed up for it. 3 o'clock. Vice President Joe Biden, the Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States, will be addressing the Indian American community of the US. Tell us all about this event. I want everyone listening to come to this event.
As you know, that I can, before I say that, you should know that we could have never had this US-India civil nuclear deal without the support of the Biden, because the Senator Biden that time was the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and he was the pioneer to move the deal and have partnership with India. As you know, that it is the first time that a nominated president will be addressing the community on the eve of the Independence Day. It did not happen before. So that tells the clout and the influence Indian Americans around the country has, and Vice President Biden or President nominee realizes that the power and the influence. So this afternoon at 3 o'clock, President will give the message for the 15th of August, and the top foreign policy advisor of Biden will also talk about US-India relations, moderated by US Ambassador to India, Indian American Rich Verma. So please join. It is a very important moment, and we should all hear what Vice President had to say about US-India relations.
That's at 3 o'clock, and you can just go to my Facebook side, my email, number of emails have gone out. You just hit the link and sign up, and it's a free event. We want to thank those radio listeners for listening to this live broadcast. We want to thank Radio Mirchi for all that you do. And just a reminder that at 11 o'clock today at the Hindu Society of North Carolina, they will be raising the US flag, North Carolina flag, and the flag of India for a virtual celebration. There will be no program this year. At 3 o'clock, we have the Joe Biden event with Swadesh, the US-India Friendship Council. And at 5, I'm interviewing Sharma's family, historic figure, founder of HNC on Indian independence as well. Thank you all for joining Radio Mirchi, and we're going to continue now this live town hall with Mr. Swadesh Chatterjee. We want to thank you, and this will be aired tomorrow at 4 o'clock on Radio Mirchi. And we thank you for listening to the Triangle Region's largest South Asian Indian American radio station. And we're going to continue now with the town hall. We are, if you're just joining in on the social media streams, we're with Swadesh Chatterjee. So Swadesh, I'm going to, one question I have for you is talk about entrepreneurship. On September 3rd, I'm going to be inviting you to an event. I'm hosting a startup summit, and John Chambers, who's from my home state of West Virginia and a family friend, is going to be the keynote speaker. And John actually is ex-CEO of Cisco. He's an investor now in California, JC2 Ventures. But he actually talks a lot about Prime Minister Modi and his investment in entrepreneurship. And in fact, he's advising the Prime Minister on Tech India. So India has always been known for entrepreneurs. And you and I saw this when we were in India together. What do you think India can do as part of the entrepreneurial ecosystem? Why are so many of these entrepreneurs coming up in India?
Yeah, one thing Prime Minister Modi has done, he really trying to open the economy. He has told the world that India is now ready for business. We came a long way from license Raj to 1991 economic reform. So Modi realizes that India cannot just depend unless he opens up the border, and the investment, foreign direct investment, is the key for generating employments in India. So without this investment and the market India to the entrepreneurs so that they come and invest, as you know, India's economy has taken a little bit down path for the last 2-3 years. The only way the GDP of India will grow, provided we have more foreign direct investment and technology in the different sectors come to India. So I would say Prime Minister Modi did a great job selling India. He's a master salesman, apart from anything else, with his articulation and speech to the rest of the world, particularly America, is really outstanding.
Fantastic. I just had a question come in, and they just wanted to know what areas of India's economy would be open to American investment, and the kinds of companies here that should think about going to India. And they put it in parentheses: energy, renewable, smart grid. And I know for those of you listening, the Secretary of Minister Trade, Technology and Excise, Mr. Amit Mitra, is a friend of Mr. Chatterjee's, but he actually was a PhD at Duke. So he has ties to North Carolina. But like if we were to go to Bengal again after COVID one day, hopefully sooner than later, what kinds of companies would you want to take with us?
The biggest opportunity I saw in India is number was renewable energy and the energy sector. Second is life science and the pharma. As you know, India is number 2 in the world for making the intermediates and API for the generic medicine. So after what is happening with the relationship with China, India has got an outstanding opportunity now to work with United States for affordable medicine, and pharma company has got tremendous opportunity. Pharma company, biotech company, mid-sized company. That is second. Third is, as you know, our defense relationship have increased at least 7-fold in the last 5 years. There is a tremendous opportunity in the area of defense. The food safety, food processing, and the quality of the food, US can work with India on the technology side in that area, food and food safety. And on the area of cyber security and technology, there is a tremendous opportunity on all these 4 sectors.
Okay, so technology, cybersecurity, and we also, and another person just asked, we had Infosys, we have HCL, we can continue to, when we go back to India, what advice would you have to Governor Cooper and Commerce to bring more of the Indian multinationals? And why are, this person asked this question, why are Indian multinationals investing in US?
Now, I won't say they are not, they are, the investment of Indian company in US, if you look at it, the last year statistics, they have created almost 130,000 jobs. They have invested in North Carolina. As you know, the fastest growing tech company in North Carolina is HCL. Very recently, the Kolani Manufacturing, they opened up a manufacturing facility in Stanford. They are in the process of doing that. We have lots of multinational of India now investing in the United States, really creating a lot of jobs. But if you look at the scale, it is not there yet. But I think they have started investing much more. Infosys now working in North Carolina, as you know. Infosys has got facility in other parts of the world. Lots of pharma company also has presence in North Carolina, around the country. So the job creation by Indian multinational has started, but not increasing as rapidly as it should. They should invest more on US, particularly what is happening is, as you know, on the immigration issue, that the flow of people has reduced. So that is another big concern what we have got as Indian American, and that needs to be changed, and we hope that it will change very soon.
Okay, yeah, I just had a question come in about immigration, and this is a big issue. I deal with this issue a lot. Satish gets this issue a lot. The question is, okay, we got an event coming up this afternoon. We're talking about policy. What about immigration policy? Because the fact of the matter is, immigrants from India and H-1Bs are being told, get out, come back. David Price sees a lot of the I's not being dotted. Strange things happening. And so the bottom line is, how can we have immigration reform that's accelerating after citizenship? Is this something that you think we can do if Biden were elected president, to work with the Congress? We've been talking about this issue for a long time, but nothing ever seems to move on it.
Yeah, you know, nobody is ready. They all talk about it. Nobody is ready to touch this sensitive subject. On the other hand, we Indian Americans, it is so important that, as you know, Steve, on US-India Friendship Council, every meeting we had every 4 months with senators and congressmen, immigration is one of the subjects. I am totally agree the whole immigration situation is completely messed up, particularly a country like India. And because one thing we talked about before, that we have to do something, because this company in the United States depends on India's talent. India people who comes to this country it is not that they mow the grass or construction labor. They are the high-tech people, and we are pushing very hard that whosoever comes here, not only for H-1B, also who come for their masters and PhD, they should have a green card stapled to the degree, called Staple Act. And we all Indian Americans should get their act together and become united to fight for immigration reform hopefully the White House changes, and push for Congress and lobby very hard to the Congress and the senators to make a change. I am totally for it, and I will spearhead and talk about that one every time I got a chance.
Well, we'll work with you on that. Hopefully we can go back to Washington and encourage.
Please do. Because we needed to be united and together to fight this cause. And I understand the pain and suffering our community goes through because of this H-1B and the L-1 visas.
Okay, thank you so much. Quick question. Do you believe, so what's amazing to me is that it took 6 months in COVID-19 to reach 10 million cases. And I was telling on the radio yesterday on another station that just in the last 3 months, we hit 20 million. The top 3 countries, US, India, and Brazil. Now, India, unlike US, can't print $1 trillion of stimulus package. The Wall Street Journal said that the healthcare system is really being bombarded with many doctors taking COVID leave. They go help the patient. So the healthcare system has been really hurt. So you and I were just in India, and I was there with your wife, Manjushri, and the team, and Elaine Marshall, but it seems like a lifetime ago. What does India need to do now to get through this pandemic? And how can the US and other developed countries help India?
Yes, Steve, as me personally, I am very disappointed what we are seeing in US. US as a country, when we came to this country with $35 in our pocket, we never thought this is the America we came. This America with the financial power, with the power of the scientist, with the power and excellent doctor, that what position we are in today, because there is no national policy for what and how should we cope with this pandemic. If we had the national policy, if we had been disciplined on this one, I think we would not have seen this. So I say this is the result of the bad decision of the country which we are facing today, number one. Number two is, if we had, with our financial strength, we should help country like India, because as you know, India's economy is not doing that well. India doesn't have all the ventilators and the infrastructure in the healthcare to address this issue, and that get complicated with the density and population. So India definitely has a huge problem. So Prime Minister Modi and his team is trying, but it is very concerning what is happening in India. As you know, what happened in Brazil. India is a country with 1.3 billion people and doesn't have the adequate infrastructure and medicine. So we should do everything we can. United States can help, and we should work together to make it happen.
Okay, that's a great question. Let's turn the table. We have about 15 minutes left. Let's talk about political engagement, but I would be remiss if I did not ask you, and then we're going to talk about just political engagement in general. Historic day this week when Kamala Harris, United States Senator, you've met her, you know her, was selected as the vice presidential candidate, the second highest office in these United States of America. A Black woman, but Indian American as well. So the first Indian American to be on a national presidential ticket. Did you ever in your lifetime, as an immigrant that came here, ever believe that this could happen? And what does this mean to you as someone who's been so politically engaged? And what do you think it means for your grandkids, for my kids, for one day of my grandkids? What do you think this means?
You know, for me, Steve, it is a very good question. And for me, because I started this journey 30 years ago, and I have faced the difficulty, the maximum. We came here, cannot speak the American English, doesn't have a job. We came to South, North Carolina. In fact, when my wife wanted to get a residency in Duke, they would give her the application form to fill out because she's from India. From that point, and then we have gone through the everything, all the possibility when they don't look at us, ignore and isolate with a roller coaster ride. We have an first Indian in the United States Congress is Dilip Singh Sandhu from California in 1940s. And then next was the Bobby Jindal. When Bobby Jindal came, that time we thought that Indian American is really is noticed. And then, as you know now, we have got 6 congressmen, 1 senator, and now 1 senator, no matter lot of people are criticizing that she does not call herself Indian, she calls herself African American. It doesn't matter. Her record cannot abolish that she is a daughter of an Indian immigrant, came for her PhD in University of California, Berkeley. So this one is every Indian American, no matter what, should really think about that, what it means for not only India, but democracy as a whole, to have an African American father, Indian mother is nominated for the vice presidential candidate. I think it is time to rejoice and time to support and make it happen. She will be very good vice president, and don't be surprised, she may be first Indian origin will be the president of this country.
Fantastic. And we've had so many other, we have 4 Indian Congress leaders now, Ro Khanna, Raja Krishnamurthy, Pramila Jayapal, Congressman Ami Bera. We have a number of Indian Americans elected, Jay Chaudhary, Satish Garmela, Dimple Ajmera, and Charlotte, Ronnie Chatterjee, running for treasurer, and we'll have many, many more. So I guess, why do you think it's important for those listening today to be politically engaged? It's just something that you think is important to continue to have a voice as a community.
You know, I strongly believe that it is a duty of the people. Please, I'll request them, don't run after money. You must get involved in the political process. It is very, very important. Yes, politics had some bad name and connotation in this country, particularly with the first generation, because they came from India. In India, politics means it tied up very much hand in hand with corruption. That is not the case. Yes, there is some issue, but this political system in this country is very clean, straightforward. So be involved. If you wanted to stay in this country, be American. We are Americans of Indian origin. So it is our duty and moral obligation to become part of the political system, get involved, and also try to make some sacrifices like you did, Steve. You decided to go to the public social work. You decided to run first Indian American in this country, in this state, and I'm so glad that you did. It means a lot to the example you are creating for your kids and other kids in this state.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I think there'll be many more. What I told the news was that there'll be even an acceleration now, and I think you're going to see younger generation, people like at my daughter's age, high school kids. I'm seeing more interest. So I think if it works out well, there'll be many, many more. A couple more questions before we let Mr. Chatterjee go. He has a busy day today. I'm going to ask this question because it came in, but I ask it with a smile on my face because you and I have been, I'm sorry, but you and I have been telling the governors of North Carolina to go to India for many, many years. And now we have a pandemic and it's going to be hard to go to India. But I mean, I hate to say it with a smirk on my face, but I guess we know the answer to the question, but should the governor of this state go? Yeah, because we have such a big community here. We have all this opportunity. You talked about both sides of the countries, right? Isn't it important? And we just have to make it happen.
Steve, I have got a very bad taste on this subject, as you know very well, because I was close, I got involved in the political process. I got the chance to know the great governor like Governor Jim Hunt, as you know. He came and released my book. And also I worked with Beverly Perdue and also Attorney General that time. So we worked with a lot of governors, and Governor Hunt was promised me that I'll go. Did not happen. He went to India. I went with him, but after he became governor, was out of the capital. Then Roy Cooper, as you know, the governor now, and he promised that he will also visit. I can tell you that North Carolina is now one of the, I think, 49th state. Every governor take delegation. So North Carolina is one of them. There are a couple of states who did not go and take a delegation. North Carolina is one of them. So you can imagine the neighboring state, Virginia governor went to India 3 times with this delegation, different governor. So I think it is high time, Steve, it is very important because sometimes we are so much bogged with China and Netherlands and Europe, Mexico, that they completely ignored India and why it is important. Though Indian company is the fastest growing company in North Carolina. So it is sad. So I hope that governor will go take the trip after he got re-elected, after the election. I think that's what the latest conversation I had.
Now, we have a few more minutes. The ambassador, you hosted a visit with the ambassador and talk a little bit about the UNC Modern Studies Initiative. I forgot to ask about that, but I think that's a good thing to educate people. You're the chair of the steering committee. We had an event to raise money for that. But first of all, did Ambassador Shringla enjoy his visit to North Carolina? And can we get him back one day?
Yeah, as you know, Ambassador Shringla now got promoted. He's now in Delhi. He's now foreign secretary. So he's
Great.
one step up. So all the ambassadors around the globe reports to him.
Great.
So after Shringla came here in October, November, after that in January, he was now moved to Delhi and become foreign secretary. And Ambassador Shringla has got an outstanding visit. And as you know, that our community here is so generous, and I'm so grateful that we work together and form a steering group and convince the UNC to have a modern India studies initiative. So the way I talk about that, it is quite obvious that we started our journey as a community with temples, Hindu temple, Baptist temple, Sai temple, and different kind of SB temple. But we have done enough temples. So I convinced and people came forward, we should really now make an institution which will remain forever after we are gone, so that anybody who wants to know about India as a country, India's music, India's film, India's art, India's culture, India's geopolitical stand. So anybody, any students can go and take classes with the exchange of students and faculty. So we started an initiative called Modern Indian Studies Initiative. After Jewish study, this is the only second thing is happened. Our community came together and contributed. We raised almost $300,000 and it is started. The students are having exchange program, but we had to do a lot more work to be done. So we are very excited on this initiative, Steve. So this is the best thing can happen for all of us in this state, that we came forward and make it happen at UNC.
Okay, fantastic. We have one last question. I guess, it's been a great interview. I guess the question is, we had a great U.S.-India Friendship Council meeting. Maybe we could work together on doing another one, or have it hosted in North Carolina. Or maybe we could do it virtually, having another kind of that was what I got out of it in Washington at the Capitol, where you invited all these senators, Tom Tillis, Tim Kaine, Tulsi Gabbard, Ro Khanna, just everybody was there to talk about all these different issues. And I know I got a couple of tough issues there I didn't ask about Kashmir and things like that. What I want to answer the question for Swadesh is that we have to quit the conversation on social media and have a logical, transparent conversation with our congressional and Senate, hearing from the Indian government and the governments of the US about these foreign policy issues. Because I see just so much information being thrown out there, right? So the question is, could we work on something like that together one day as a community with you?
Yeah, Steve, actually, we are supposed to have a meeting, as you know, in the month of April. Because of the pandemic, we had to postpone. So our plan is that as soon as election is over, after the November election, once things are better, if things are better, we'll have a physical meeting. If things doesn't get better, we'll have a virtual meeting, and we will bring the foreign policy advisors and senators and congressmen. And the purpose of this US-India Friendship Council meeting, Steve, is, as you know, that Congress and Senate has got different priorities. Unless we push them every 4 months, that US-India relationship is important, immigration is an important issue, trade is important issue. Unless you go to them and tell them and remind them every 4 or 5 months, it will lost on the shuffle. That's the idea. So
Okay.
we are thinking of having an event. As soon as the election is over, we will have an event for sure to talk about the issue again to them. So as you know, it is just mind-boggling that, I remember the book, I told you, Eastern Democracies in 1991. Now the book came, India has come. So you can imagine where we came from that day to today. And I think you are absolutely right. We should keep on reminding them that US-India relationship should be on the top priority.
What final parting words do you have to the community who's listening to this? I guess you've really touched on the nail. Learn about the relationship, get involved, get politically involved, right? The Indian American diaspora, as you said, in building bridges, is important to continue to strengthen this very, very important relationship moving forward for our future.
Yeah, as I told very time, as you know, Steve, my very favorite phrase, that we have two mothers. One is Mother India, who give us our lives, and the United States, which give our livelihoods. So there was a tremendous misunderstanding between the two countries. Now, the Indian American plays such an important role that we have proven that we are American, where we contribute a lot to the society. So now we had to demand that you had to look at us, look at our children, the smartness of our children, what kind of intellectual capability our children has, and they can contribute a lot to the society. So you not only take our money, but also take our minds and take our children and get appointment in different position in the cabinet and in the different administration level, both in the state and on the United States government. And we have to push harder. Let us not worry about it. Push harder to make it happen. If you don't get involved, Steve, we cannot push them. We had to give them financial contribution. We had to support them. On the other hand, we had to ask for something else. It is two-way traffic, not one way.
Okay, well, we could be here all day. This has been fascinating. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad we were able to pull off this interview. This will be broadcast again, 4 o'clock tomorrow on Radio Mirchi. And want to thank all of you for joining. Swadesh, a happy Indian Independence Day to you, your lovely wife, Manju, your family, and a virtual hug from the Rouse to you. I miss seeing you, actually. But it's actually nice to see you this way. And we want to wish everyone in the community a happy 74th Indian Independence Day. Long live India, long live North Carolina, and long live the United States of America. And please, all of you listening, be safe. And we'll be back this evening at 5 o'clock with the Sharmas. But remember, 3 o'clock this afternoon, you will hear Vice President Joe Biden.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve, for giving me the opportunity. And friends, have a great Independence Day. One thing I'll remember, and I'll tell before I go, Tagore tells something that we got the life, and by giving it to the social causes is that we had to earn that. So please get involved. Please become an Indian American, become a better American so that you can be better Indian also. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
Thank you.